Pete Torre, and welcome to episode 11 of the Pete Torre Show. Before we move on, I want to thank my sponsors, Jackson West Medical Center, Best Practices Title, and Clutch Burger. As it is the case on every single show, I'm here to inform, educate, and inspire you to take your business, your career, your life to that next level. Talking about our lives, we are all affected by the economy. And there's so much going on right now with the economy, a lot of uncertainty happening. And I think it's important that we take a deep dive into what's going on. My one and only guest today is Juan Del Busto, the founder and chairman of Del Busto Capital Partners and the former branch manager of the Federal Reserve here in Miami. Juan is going to share with you some incredible insights, some important information, and he's going to be very, very candid. So I want you to sit back, listen closely, because this is important for you, your family, and your business. Okay, everyone, it's my pleasure now, of course, to bring on to the program a very, very long time good friend of mine and a business advisor and mentor, Juan Del Busto. What's going on, my friend?
How are you? Everything's going good. Everything's going good. I'm ready to start traveling.
You're ready to start traveling. Yeah, that's something we can hit upon briefly, but I want to compliment you on your background there. How many helmets do you have in that room?
Well, between full size and small size, probably about 400.
400. Obviously, this is a collection item that you have, right?
Yeah, they're all signed, by the way.
They're all signed. Oh my God! One day we'll just talk about that. How about and another day we'll talk about your rum collection too, because you're one of the world's connoisseur of rum. So we'll get into other discussion there. But Juan, again, thank you so much for being with us. We've had numerous conversations the last few years. It's been almost 10 years since you've moved on from the Federal Reserve, and a lot of exciting things have happened in your life. Some new chapters and new opportunities. And now you're running Del Busto Capital Partners. I always go to you when we have things happening. Well, there's always things happening with the economy every single day. But when there are certain milestones and certain things that are happening. And obviously, we've been through COVID for 14 months now. Looks like things are starting to loosen up, opening up. The vaccine is starting to take hold. So at this point, after all of this, from your perspective, how do you see things going with the economy, locally, nationally, and globally?
I think the economy has been opening up and has recovered a lot quicker than we ever expected back when I gave my first speech about COVID back last April. I think we've moved very rapidly to improve areas. However, as you know, and interviewing me for years, one of my concerns has always been the deficits in this country.
Yep.
And we continue to increase those at a very alarming rate.
Yep.
So while we're opening up the economy, I think we're hurting some of the economic recovery by giving away free money. And I'm all for helping individuals with food, clothing, and shelter. But I'm not very, very excited about giving them money to pay off their credit cards and to increase their savings. And that's exactly what we're doing. When we talked about employment, and that's part of the key to the economy, we expected 1 million jobs last month. We had 266,000.
Horrible numbers.
If you look locally and you look nationally about employment, we're giving free money for people not to work. You look at ads in every type of business in our community and across the country. I just did a national interview about this 2 weeks ago. Employees are not willing to work. Individuals in high-end restaurants are paying $15 for a dishwasher, and you got to pay them cash at the end of every night. You know why? Because they're getting the
collecting.
cash, and they're collecting unemployment, which long-term is going to be a problem. Healthcare, bakeries, restaurants at all levels. A car dealership has 3 car dealerships. You can't get car salesmen. So it's not just at the lower end level, even though that's the majority, it's at all levels. Mm-hmm. So we can get into more details, but that's a very big concern going forward.
You know, let's call it as it is. Okay. There a lot. You know, I brought this topic up a week or so ago about the issue with you can't find help. You know, people are, they're all these businesses are looking to hire and they're desperate and they're running short, and it's affecting their servicing, right, of their customers.
Absolutely.
You know, so and there's many feedback. Well, part of this is the parents got to stay home with the kids and they can't necessarily work. And then there's the other one about changing careers, so they don't want to get into this and they're still looking where to go. Something, it is what it is. And when someone does the numbers and they see that they can make the same or a little bit more money collecting, they're gonna string that out as far as they can. That's just the truth.
Absolutely. And in this environment where in the last few months there has been a lot more vaccines, the economy is opening up more. How does it make any sense for anyone in this country to go from an unemployment rate of 6% to 6.1% when the economy is opening up and people are dying to find employees? So that should give you a great understanding. This is not a political issue. Let's just talk about the numbers. Going from 6.1 unemployment with more vaccines, from 6% unemployment with more vaccines and more of the economy opening up, and unemployment rate goes higher. How does that make any sense? It doesn't.
It doesn't. It doesn't. And it is killing the small business owners. They went through where they were shut down last year, and obviously they had to furlough or lay off their employees because they couldn't afford to pay them because the business wasn't there. Now that they get back on their feet and they're reopening, now they're willing to hire, but they can't find the help. So it's putting a strain on that business owner. I've talked to also a lot of friends of mine that are in the hotel industry that are high-ranking managers where they're having to clean rooms, do laundry, work in the, what do you think it's doing to them and their psyche? You talk about stress?
Absolutely. And hotels are filling up at a rapid pace once the vaccine started. And you're right. They're like restaurants and hotels, they have to block off certain rooms that they can't rent out and certain tables that they can't help because they don't have enough waiters or waitresses or individuals cleaning the rooms. And just like that, healthcare is being affected, not necessarily at the hospital level, but some of these diagnostic centers are not being able to hire people at all levels. So the economy could be improving a lot faster. And another thing, with all this money that we're giving away, only 25 cents out of every dollar is being used to buy goods and services, which is what improves the economy. The other 75 cents roughly of every dollar is being used to pay off credit card debt that these individuals had accumulated over time and increase their savings rate. That's not what we're supposed to be doing in this country. We're not supposed to be helping in that form.
70% of our economy is based on consumerism, correct?
Exactly. Consumer spending, 70%.
It's insane.
And they're spending, though, because there's so much money out there that it's spending. GDP first quarter was unbelievable at 6.4%.
Right.
And the second quarter, as of today, is running at 10.5. It was running at about 10.8 a week ago. So people are spending money because there's so much of it that they're spending, but at the same time, they're paying off credit cards and savings.
Well, we all know, you touched upon it a couple of minutes ago, the deficit is alarmingly high and apparently only going to get higher. And we've heard, this is going to affect our kids, our grandchildren down the road. When can this madness stop?
Look, if we keep writing checks, and spending 33 cents or 25 cents more than we have per dollar in the account, it's not gonna be cured in my lifetime. I don't think it's going to be cured in my children's lifetime. Possibly, if we make some hard choices, maybe in my grandchildren's lifetime.
Yeah.
But that is not going to be a short-term correction. And there's only two ways to fix the deficits. Either you increase taxes or you reduce spending. This isn't brain surgery. This is the only way we can curb those deficits.
When we hear about, the two new tax proposition by the current president about not increasing the tax rate for anyone making less than $400,000 and going after the top 1% and hoping and wishing that by overly taxing that top, wage earner, income earner, that's going to solve all of our problems.
Yeah, that's a short-term fix, and it's going to be, and a lot of these high net worth individuals, if you don't think they're going to find a tax haven somewhere in the world, we're kidding ourselves. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these high-end individuals too, and I agree, the more you make, the more you should pay. I'm there, right. But it's got to be within reason. And you got to look at the programs that and both parties need to do this, that you're doing in the future and curb that. You need to be strategic in what you do. You can't just be giving money away free. Look, part of the COVID Relief Act that just passed, the $1.9 trillion, if people break down that act, it's probably about 9% for COVID relief.
Absolutely.
I'm all for libraries and museums, but why are we giving them in this point in time $500 million? In page 136 of the act, we're giving $25 million for cleaning supplies for the U.S. Capitol. How does that make any sense? $300 million for humanities. I'm all for humanities. Whatever the hell that means, I don't know, but we're giving $300 million to them. $20 billion for the U.S. Postal Service. Where is any of that COVID relief?
It isn't. It's like you said, it's under 10%.
And again, I'm not picking on a political party. I'm just looking at it from an economic perspective. That's all I'm looking at. And the next big thing, and you might be getting ready to ask me about this, is inflation.
You took the words out of my mouth.
Through the roof. Vegetables and fruit are 5%, meat 7%, cars 3%. Inflation now is at 3%. If the Fed had any guts, like they used to, they did away last year with the 2% guidance. Whenever we had, and I sat on the board at the Fed for 26 years in the Miami branch, whatever we reached 2%, we started looking at increasing interest rates. Mm-hmm. Jerome Powell did away with that last year and said, we're going to let that float a little bit higher. Some of us who have been around in the 80s, and when inflation crept up there, it took a while to bring that in line. The two areas of the Fed's responsibility are inflation and employment. If we do away with that and we let inflation creep, now it's at 3%, CPI is at 3%, 3.2 this morning. I think by the end of the year, it's going to be 4, maybe a little higher. That's double what the target was. And if the Fed doesn't move now or in December, when are they going to move? And that is going to be a long-term effect on our economy.
I remember back in the late 70s, around 1980, when at that time it was a candidate, Ronald Reagan, and eventually was elected president. He talked about the misery index back then, when inflation was about 12% and interest rates were 18, 19%.
19%.
That's a scary number, okay? And by what you're sharing with me right now, what I've been hearing is we're starting to now make a significant increase in our inflation where it could get out of hand really, really fast.
If it's not curbed, sooner than later, it could affect our economy and have long-term implications that we shouldn't have. Absolutely.
Right. So, what are the answers or the solutions? Juan, I mean, you've shared this with me privately and on air too. Is who is that responsible? Who are the adults in the room when it comes to the economy, right? And that it doesn't matter what party. I mean, who are those people, and are they out there?
Look, years back, and the Fed was a lot more independent then than I think it is now. I'm sad to say. I think even Janet Yellen the other day responded to the inflationary requirements and what was happening in this country. And she mentioned, like she should have, thinking she was still at the Fed and looking at monetary policy. Oh, we need to act on this. Then a few hours later, she took it back because she forgot she's on the fiscal side of our economy now. She was right to begin with. And the problem is, I think Jerome Powell and Janet Yellen are too close. We need to have that separation between monetary policy and fiscal policy. And they both worked together at the Fed. When Jerome Powell came in May of 2012, I think Janet was there and helped him. He's not a PhD economist. It's a different area in the Fed than it was when I was there. And I think if you don't have that separation between fiscal and monetary policy, I think that's something we need to worry about. I've been talking about this for the last 6 months. I've gotten a heat from a few friends of mine at the Fed, and a few friends of mine at the Fed very quietly agreed with me. So I feel that I'm right on the ballpark. If I have people on both sides disagreeing and agreeing, I feel pretty good about that.
You have a real sensitive touch point there.
So I just think the Fed needs to be very careful on the inflationary side and not keep giving. I know the market is not going to like this, but I think they need to rein in interest rates quicker than he had projected. He said they should be this low till 2023. That's when the economy was right at the beginning of COVID, and we didn't think we would recover as quickly. Well, we recovered very quickly.
Yes, we did. Juan, just for the benefit of the viewers, I know many know this, but in very, very simple terms, what is the difference between monetary and fiscal policy?
Monetary policy is worried about spending, about interest rates, and mainly inflation and jobs. That's the main part about monetary policy. Fiscal policy is more infrastructures in the country, how the dollar is working, and the spending and the taxing portion. So completely different areas. Absolutely. We look at the inflation, jobs, and how the interest rates curb that and improve that area on the monetary side.
As we wrap it up, what is the solution to this employment issue right now? What can be done? I know that certain states, including Florida, are back to the pre-COVID policy with unemployment collection and things like that. What do you believe will drive folks to finally get back out there and get a job?
I think you need to be monitoring them like you do. How many places did you apply this week? Where did you apply for? What was the where did you go? And really look at those areas and see where the people have actually applied for a job. Mm-hmm. And look at the individuals. Can't just be giving this money away to everybody. What are the individuals? Again, like I said, food, clothing, and shelter, I'm all for that. But anything above that, I am not in agreement with. It's going to hurt the economy, and it's going to hurt the middle class more than they realize, because inflation's going to, you're going to have to pay more for services, and I'm all for it. But where you might have hired 10 employees at X amount of money, you're going to hire 7 employees. So you're going to maybe hurt some of the employment force by having to increase wages to other individuals, where
Correct.
there's got to be a balance.
Correct. And what this does is take away the incentive to produce.
Of course. Look at it. Like I said, unemployment went from 6% to 6.1. These people are out there and they're spending the money and having a good time and not really. And when it comes time to work, that competition is going to be very fierce. And I'll see how many of these people that could be employed now and are deciding not to do it, where those jobs are going to come from and at what levels.
And I think that's going to happen. These jobs are going to get filled, and then they're going to be left out in the rain. And they should have jumped on it for. Hey, Juan, this has been a fascinating conversation, as it always is with you. And let's do this periodically as things develop in the economy. I can't think of a better expert to talk about that than you. And so just thanks for the on behalf of all the viewers and everyone that tunes into the show.
My pleasure. Always a pleasure, B.
Take care, man. Take care. Bye-bye. A big thank you to Juan Del Busto, one of the great minds in our local economy and really the world. And his insights are really very, very important for each and every one of us, because at the end of the day, the economy affects us all. There are a lot of things right now that are a little bit alarming in what's happening. Hopefully, they will all smooth out. But I promise you that we will keep bringing Juan back periodically to talk about what's happening in the economy. I want to take a moment now to share with you a topic that I think connects with what's going on in today's world, and that's the topic of leadership. So let me share with you the need to lead. Have you heard the phrase, there are one too many chiefs and not enough Indians? Of course, right? Well, today's world, we have just the opposite going on. There are one too many Indians and not enough chiefs. Take a hard look at the world today, whether it's in business, society, government, and the family nucleus. We have more followers than ever before. Many, many people have accepted life as it is without questioning anything and just doing what others tell them to do, or just doing what others are doing, even if it isn't the right thing to do. We see so many people afraid to be ridiculed, to stand up for themselves. It is a painful reality that we have a major leadership void in today's world. Let's be real frank about that. We are missing those special individuals who have and live with what I call non-negotiable core values, who are courageous and are willing to think for themselves and to boldly take charge to do the right things for themselves, their families, society, and beyond. My question is this: which one are you? Think about that, write to me, and let me know so that we can expand this conversation. Thank you for being with me today on this program. It is always very, very special because all of this is for you. Again, to inform, educate, and inspire you to take your life, your business to that next level. Make sure that you follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and on my YouTube channel, Pete Del Torre. I'm going to leave you with this, as I do most of the time. Have a vision for tomorrow. Dream the big dreams, yet keep an eye on today, because what it is that you do today will set up that incredible tomorrow that you aspire to. Take care of yourselves, and God bless.